I used to think branding was decoration, something you slap on after the real work is done. A logo, a color palette, a font choice meant to make the product easier to recognize on a shelf. And that naive belief cost me years of misunderstanding why some companies survive disasters while others die the moment momentum fades. Branding. Real branding is not what people see. It is what they remember when you are no longer in the room to explain yourself. And iconic logos are not born from graphic talent. They are forged from decisions, sacrifices, and consistency that most businesses are too impatient to endure. Every iconic logo begins as an answer to fear, not creativity. Fear of being ignored, misunderstood, or replaced. The Nike swoosh wasn't designed to look cool, it was designed to move. Speed, momentum, forward. Motion, a visual promise that something was happening even when the wearer was standing still. Apple's bitten apple wasn't about fruit or friendliness, it was about defiance. A clean human shape standing against the cold, complex machines of its era. McDonald's golden arches weren't just architecture, they became a lighthouse for predictability in a chaotic world. These marks worked not because they were clever, but because they stood for something clear long before they were admired. What people miss is that logos don't gain power from originality alone. They gain power from repetition under pressure. A logo becomes iconic only after it survives moments where changing it would have been easier. When the product failed, when public opinion turned, when leadership changed, when markets shifted, the logo stayed, and by staying, it accumulated meaning. Every time a brand keeps its identity stable, while the world around it shakes, it teaches customers a quiet lesson. We are still here. We still know who we are. I've watched companies panic rebrand after one bad quarter, convinced that perception was the problem when trust was the real leak. They change colors, redesign icons, refresh slogans, and wonder why nothing improves. Iconic brands do the opposite. They hold the line. Coca-Cola didn't become a red can by accident, and it didn't abandon red every time a competitor launched something new. Red became memory. Red became comfort. Red became an anchor. Over time, the logo stopped needing explanation. It became shorthand for a feeling. This is where branding stops being visual and becomes behavioral. The logo is not the brand, it is the receipt of every promise you've kept or broken. FedEx's arrow matters because the company built a culture around reliability and direction. Amazon's smile works because the company obsessed over customer experience relentlessly, sometimes brutally. When behavior and symbol align, the logo compresses trust into a glance. When they don't, the logo becomes a lie people sense instinctively, even if they can't articulate why. There is also a darker truth most marketers avoid. Iconic logos are dangerous because they tempt companies to believe the symbol can carry them when substance erodes. Kodak's logo was once synonymous with memory. BlackBerry's icon meant security and status. Those symbols didn't fail visually. They failed because the companies behind them stopped earning the meaning embedded in the mark. Logos don't die when they get old. They die when the organization forgets what made them believable. The real power of branding is that it simplifies choice. In a world of overwhelming options, humans reach for what feels familiar, safe, and aligned with their identity. Logos become psychological shortcuts. They tell a story faster than any pitch deck ever could. But shortcuts only work when the road behind them has been built honestly. You cannot cheat branding long-term. You can borrow attention, but you must pay it back with experience. What separates iconic logos from forgettable ones is restraint. The willingness to say no to trends. The patience to let meaning accumulate slowly. The discipline to protect consistency even when new leadership wants to leave their mark. The best brand leaders understand that changing a logo is not innovation, it is surgery. And surgery should only happen when the patient's life depends on it, not when the board wants to feel busy. And this is where the story deepens, because behind every iconic logo is a moment when the brand had to choose between short-term applause and long-term identity, between chasing relevance and reinforcing trust. And the brands we still recognize today are the ones that made those choices quietly, repeatedly, and often against advice. As the sentence continues into the next phase, where we examine what really gives a logo its power long after the designer has left the room and the campaigns have faded, where the logo stops being something you control and starts being something you are accountable to. Because once a symbol becomes iconic, it no longer belongs to the company alone. It belongs to the collective memory of everyone who has trusted it. At that point, branding reverses direction. You don't shape the logo anymore. The logo judges you. Every decision you make either feeds the meaning people already carry, or it fractures it quietly. This is why iconic brands feel conservative even when they are innovative. They innovate beneath the symbol, not through it. Apple can reinvent entire product categories without touching the bitten apple. Nike can step into social conflict without redesigning the swoosh. The symbol stays calm while the company moves. That separation is intentional. The logo becomes an anchor in motion. When everything changes, the mark stays familiar, and familiarity is the currency of trust. The brands that misunderstand this treat logos like levers instead of commitments. They believe a new symbol can reset reality, but memory doesn't work that way. You can't overwrite years of experience with a new font. When Gap changed its logo overnight, the backlash wasn't about taste. It was about disorientation. Customers felt like the brand had moved without them. Iconic logos don't ask permission to evolve visually because they rarely need to. Their evolution happens through behavior, not graphics. There's an uncomfortable discipline behind this restraint. It means leaders don't get to leave their mark easily. It means marketing teams don't get to chase novelty for validation. It means saying no to trends that look exciting but dilute meaning. Over time, this creates tension inside organizations. New hires want to modernize. New executives want to signal change. The strongest brands survive these impulses by reminding themselves of a hard truth. Recognition is not the same as relevance, but relevance without recognition is fragile. What truly gives a logo power is coherence over time. When the same symbol appears in moments of joy, disappointment, recovery, and resilience, it accumulates emotional weight. Think about how the Starbucks siren became a signal of routine comfort, or how the Mercedes star became shorthand for engineering seriousness. These symbols didn't earn trust by shouting. They earned it by showing up consistently when expectations were high and when they were under scrutiny. There is also a responsibility that comes with this power. Once a logo becomes a shortcut to trust, abusing that shortcut creates backlash faster than silence ever could. Greenwashing fails harder under famous logos. Ethical missteps hurt more. Iconic symbols amplify mistakes because people feel personally betrayed. This is why branding is never done. The stronger the symbol, the more fragile it becomes to hypocrisy. The logo magnifies alignment and misalignment equally. For builders and founders, this leads to a final practical lesson. You don't build a powerful brand by designing a logo. You build it by making thousands of small decisions that the logo will later have to represent. The mark is not the cause. It is the consequence. If you focus on meaning first, the symbol will eventually matter. If you focus on the symbol first, it will always feel empty. So when you see an iconic logo, don't ask why the design works. Ask what the company refused to do to protect it. Ask what shortcuts they didn't take. Ask how many times they chose consistency over cleverness. The answers to those questions are where branding power actually lives. And if this deep dive into the power of branding changed how you look at logos around, you stay with this channel. Subscribe, because this is where we strip success down to its real mechanisms, not its surface gloss. And leave a comment sharing a logo that instantly triggers a feeling for you, positive or negative, because that feeling is proof that branding, when done right or wrong, leaves a deeper imprint than any advertisement ever could.